Introducing the Champion's Mindset, the podcast that gives your inner game a serious upgrade. Join internationally renowned mindset and performance expert, KATHRYN Orford.
Hi there, everyone, and welcome back. If you've been watching the podcast, welcome back. If this is your first time watching, welcome. We are so pleased that you're here with us. The Champion's Mindset, yes, definitely I work with athletes, performers, and high achievers in the business place, but really, wherever you're at in your life, mindset is going to underpin everything. Okay. So I'm extremely excited about my guest for today. Without giving away any secrets, I'm just going to have his intro video come on and you'll get to know who it is. Here we go.
Evangelist, husband, father of 8 children. It's Dr. Stan Harris. 10th degree black belt in Ishinu Karate. Voted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame. Author, life strategist, entrepreneur, breakthrough speaker. I've spoken in all 50 states and 28 countries. You might be just one step from your breakthrough. Any barrier that God did not set was made to be broken. It's breakthrough time. As a matter of fact, check out www.breakthroughcard.com, breakthroughcard.com for more powerful videos. God bless you.
So, welcome, Dr. Stan, aka Dr. Breakthrough.
Well, it's a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure to be here on the show with you. And I just love what you're doing to make a difference in people's lives. And so let's get into this thing because I love what you do. And you're amazing, by the way.
And so are you. We've had this conversation. So, first of all, happy Father's Day to you, to Jason, our producer, and to all of you dads out there. I hope that you were really showered with love and appreciation. Yeah, it's nice to get the gifts, but it's more about the connection, isn't it? And knowing that you're appreciated. So, let's get down to it. Let's start at the very beginning. So, you're brought up in a single parent household. You have some traumatic events occur in your life. And you might like to share what that was. And then at 10 years old, that prompted you to actually take up martial arts.
That's correct. And before we get into that, again, since it's Father's Day, let me just give my acronym for father, right?
Sure.
And that is forgotten authority that has empowering rights. Forgotten authority that has empowering rights. So we live in a society today. I mean, Mother's Day is a big thing. Father's Day is okay. But anyway, so we can't forget though the power and presence that a father has and possesses. And so again, special shout out to you dads, especially those of you who understand your role and take that right and the responsibility. And the word responsibility simply means respond with ability. One of the greatest things today is to have all of my children say to me, Dad, thank you for being the dad that you never had. KATHRYN, that was a commitment I made to myself when I was a young teenager because I didn't have the dad. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about, how our pain can push us to produce prosperity, right? So because of the pain that we suffered, it can cause us to say, you know what, I've been through this. I don't want this person or whatever to go through that. And so, yeah, so my life in the early days, and just so you know, my story, my whole synopsis, my whole life is that I was a mess. So I say every master was once a mess or at best mediocre. Therefore, every mess or mediocre person can one day be a master. And whenever a mess or mediocre person becomes a master, you now have a message that if you market to the masses, you can make money. And so, yeah, grew up in a single parent home. Dad left when I was 3, never called, never came by, never sent mom a dime. Unfortunately, it was a very terrible neighborhood. And, at 6 years of age, I was out in the middle of a field playing, not bothering anybody. And a gang of teenagers came my way and they grabbed me and they jumped me, started beating me up. I was a 6-year-old boy. I mean, it would have taken one teenager, right? I'm screaming, hollering, but they start punching all over me, kicking all over. I mean, literally slamming on the ground, start kicking all over me, stomping on me like I was an ant or roach. And I'm bleeding from every orifice, every place you could bleed. I mean, and it was beyond traumatic. But that
Mm.
was the most traumatic part. Believe it or not, these teenagers then took me, flipped me on while I'm faced up, took a great big old bucket of tar, and where they got it from, I don't know, and poured the tar on my face all over my body. And they took a bunch of feathers and literally threw them on me and left me to die out in the middle of a field. I was a little 6-year-old boy. And thank God somebody found me, though, rushed me to the hospital and got me taken care of. But like I said, so I've been through physical abuse and verbal abuse and sexual abuse and obviously racial abuse and every kind of abuse. One of my mom's boyfriends beat me with a steel choker chain for a dog.
Oh,
5 bow and arrow set. I mean, it's just, and so my life was so terrible. I was hopeless. I tried to commit suicide on 2 occasions before I was ever 12 years of age, or I tried to unlife myself. I guess you got to be careful how you put the words these days, but
yeah.
I'm glad I was unsuccessful. And for
Yes,
anybody
me too.
watching, yeah, and anybody watching, if you're in that hopeless situation, I would have never lived. Listen, if I'd have taken my life, I would have never lived. I'm living now beyond my dream. I never even had dreams that my life could be this great. You know what I mean? And so I'm living beyond my wildest dreams, but none of that would have happened. And so that's why I'm so glad for what you're doing, because perhaps if I could have heard something like this that can empower me and help me. But I'm just telling you though, if you're going through a rough time and you're in a hopeless situation, just hang on because it could get better.
Yeah, exactly. And you and I both have, stories of wanting to not be here. And as we've said in our conversation that we had earlier in the week, the breaking of me was the making of me. And it sounds like that was definitely the beginning of Dr. Breakthrough. So you take up martial art as a 10-year-old.
Yep,
And
I
and you
want to learn how to protect myself. I got tired of
Yes,
being
exactly. That was
bullied.
the motivation, right? Was I'm not going to be beaten up again like that.
I had a Popeye moment. I've stands all I can stands, and I can't stands no more.
Yeah. And so you threw yourself into learning martial arts and you got really good.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we became as a teenager. Well, I would work out 4 and 5 hours a day because I didn't have anything else to do. You know what I mean? So, and it kept me out of trouble, by the way, also. But 4 or 5 hours a day. So teenagers, they weren't in competition. I would fight with the grown men, and I won the category among the grown men. And as a matter of fact, I even retired as a heavyweight champion with Karate World Rating System. But the discipline that they taught me though, the self, because I just wanted to learn self defense. They said, no, we got to teach you self discipline. I said, no, I just want to learn how to fight. They said, but if we teach you self defense without self discipline, you'll be like an uncontrollable weapon. You can harm yourself and others, right? I said, okay, I
Mm,
don't know what this self discipline stuff is, but if I got to learn it, I'll learn it, right? And that's what changed my life. As a matter of fact, I think it was Socrates that said the greatest of all victories is a conquest of one's own self, right? And that's what helped change my life. But yes, became very proficient, very well. And matter of fact, went on. I didn't even know there was such a thing called the 10th degree black belt grand master, and I became that and got voted into the Hall of Fame as well. But again, I was just a nobody that God and I made into a somebody, and now I'm committed to telling everybody He can do the same and a whole lot more for anybody.
So tell us a story. I was saying to you when you were young, did you have a lot of self belief? And was that what motivated you and what spurred you on? And you said something really interesting. You said, no, uh, I actually wanted to prove to people that their believing in me was wrong, that I couldn't do these things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's something called Johari's window that allows people to see things in us that we can't see in ourselves. And wise and beautiful, blessed is the person who's surrounded with people that can see that and want to pull that out of you. So I had people in my life, they would say, hey, I believe you could do that. I knew I couldn't, but I had enough respect for them that I wanted to just give it a shot for them. And I thought if I show them it doesn't work, then they would believe me, right? And leave me alone. And so, but I was shocked when it worked, and I was
But
like,
tell us
wow,
about what it was that worked, because this is pretty wild. So you were watching Jeff, right? The black belt that was like
yes,
that
yes.
you looked up to, that was kind of the epitome of.
Yes, Jeffrey Washington. We called him Geezer, and so he would. We have all had these parts of our demonstration that we would do, and his part was one of the main parts. He would take a guy sitting on the guy's shoulder, holding the board 9.5 foot up in the air, and from a vertical leap, just jump up and kick and break it. I was so mesmerized by that, and I was so taken. I was afraid to even ask him how he does that. Right? I was like, I was so in awe of this guy. And my in Japanese sensei, the style I took, by the way, is called Ishinru Karate from Okinawa. And so my sensei, Walter Dobson with Golden Dragons, but one day Jeff didn't make it to the presentation. Now, all I did was a little kata. I was part with a group kata. That's all I did. Everybody else would break the boards and bricks and do all that kind of stuff. Me, I was just because I was still new. But my sensei, I don't know what he saw. I don't know what it was, but he said to me, Harris, come here. And I said, yes, sir. Now we're at this demonstration. He said, Jeff didn't show up. So I need you to take his place. Now, Jeff's the best guy in the class. I need you to take his place. Go over there. Now, watch this. Go over there, jump and kick and break that board. My first thought was, he's crazy. I, I can't even jump. My second thought was, wait a minute, he's the master. Maybe he knows something I don't know. But so all I remember is going over there. And back then, if you didn't obey the sensei, you got push-ups on your knuckles on top of the concrete. So
Ouch!
it was give it a
Ouch!
shot or bloody knuckles, right? So let me give it a shot. I know it's not going to work, and whatever. So I just remember seeing in my mind. I closed my eyes and I saw Jeff bending down, jumping up, kicking, breaking that thing, and I just bent down, jumped, gave it everything I had. I forgot to even open my eyes. I threw my foot up. I heard something break. I landed, and I looked. Everybody's clapping. I look up and I'm like, "Whoa, whoa! I did it! Oh my goodness! Like what? How did that happen?" Right? And so again, that's one of the examples of somebody saw in me, and that's why now I'm a debtor and I go all over. I've been in all 50 states, 28 countries, and I find people that I could believe in them, and I tell people like my mentors and my sensei and others, like you could take our belief in you, and it could be like training wheels until your own belief kicks in. And I'm
Yes.
sure that's part of what you do as well. And that's why I'm so excited about this, because one of our greatest desires is to connect with someone or a group of someone's who can empower us to be, do, and have what we secretly know we can become and achieve. See, secretly in your heart, whoever's watching this, you know you were born to be a champion. You know you might be underachieving right now, but you know there's more. Something inside you says there's more. And I'm just grateful again to be one of those ones that can help people.
And as you said, it's like it just takes one person. And I found in all the years when I had my performing arts school and then doing what I'm doing today and coaching athletes and performers, it takes one person other than our parent.
Yes,
Because, when a parent says, "Oh, yeah, you can do this and you're amazing," and, we just
you're
discount that.
supposed to
"Oh,
say
yeah,
that.
but that's dad," like, and for me, it took, I got told at 16 when I announced to the world, I'm going to be a professional dancer, I got told 3 times, "You'll never make it." And, I just did classes for fun and I taught little kids. And then I met an English guy, I followed him to England. That didn't work. And I thought, might as well do some dance classes while I'm there. So I look up in the phone book and I find Una Billings TV School of Dance. And I said to her, I'm here from Australia and I'd love to do some classes. She said, "Oh, come and do some casual classes." So I'm doing casual classes. And she pulls me out one day and she says, "KATHRYN," actually it was a Kathy back then, "Kathy, you should try out for full time." Now, I got told 3 times by people when I went in to do ballet classes, "You're too old, you're too tall, you've got flat feet, you don't have enough turnout in your hip socket, forget it." So, because I'd been told that over and over and over again, and when I got told that, by the way, first of all, I cried all the way home, but then I also was going, can't they see I've got a dancer inside? Like, I don't want to be a ballerina. I just know I need my ballet because it's the trunk of the tree. And, my dad was an Australian cycling champion. So he says to me, darling, you just haven't found the right school yet. I go out and I get told the same thing and the same thing. So when Yuna says to me, you should try out for full time, guess what I said to her? Oh, no, I'm too old. I'm too tall. I've got flat feet, turn him this. And she's going, no, you've got the height, you've got the body, you've got the musicality, you've got the stage presence, you've got the lyrical quality, you've got the style. We just got to work on your ballet. So if you're listening and you've been told you'll never make it doing something, honestly, just draw from our experience. Every time anyone says anything to me now about me not being able to do something, guess what I say? Just watch me. Just watch me, right? So, what did you learn? What is the biggest leadership lesson, for example, that you learned, or not so much leadership as self leadership, I guess? What did you learn from that experience when you jumped 9 feet up or whatever? It was like more than 9 feet, probably by the time you're hitting that board. What is the biggest impact and lesson that you've taken from that to this day you still use?
Well, the biggest impact is, first of all, like I said, I had other people that would believe in me. And one day I said to myself, well, why don't I just start believing in myself? Right.
Yes.
And so if other people are seeing this, whatever they're seeing, like why don't I start believing in myself? And why don't I start seeing things in myself that I could do, that I could be, right? And that's what made the biggest, huge difference. Because before I had no confidence whatsoever. I was, my wife says, baby, you're the most confident man I've ever met in my life. I said, but you should have seen me way back then, right? And so, yeah, but from then it took, because I had a teacher in school, Mr. David McGarrett, I'll never forget. And we were in machine shop. We went to school half the day we did machine shop, and then the other half in regular classes. And I'll never forget. He said, "Look, the best job in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where I lived at the time." He said, two of you, the top students, are going to get a job. And everybody was talking about. There was this one guy named Scott Steele. Excuse me. He was the smartest guy in the class by far. We all knew he was going to get it. And then there was, Dennis Rector was the most famous, so we thought Dennis the most popular, right? And so, make a long story short, the day came and he called out the name Scott, and everybody's like, "Yeah, we knew it was gonna be Scott." And I'm not even paying attention. And he calls out another name, and people are clapping, and then the guy's like, "Harris, he just called your name." I was like, "Yeah, right." So, no, he just called your name. Get up there. I was like, "He ain't called my name." And he said, David McGowan said, "Harris." I'm like, "Me? There's no way." I'm like, "There's no way." And I had a job as a teenager about making as much money as my mom. Right? I mean, it was crazy. Why did he pick me? But he said he saw a sincere heart in me and a leadership quality. I never saw that, right? And
Yes,
on that,
yes.
more and more people would do that and say that. And so anyway, so I finally started saying, wait a minute, if these people are seeing this, okay, why don't I start believing in myself? Why don't I stop the limiting beliefs? Because it's been said, if you fight hard enough for your limiting beliefs, God may just allow you to keep them. So I'd like, let's just get rid of those and start believing in me. And then one day it really hit me hard. If God is perfect and if he loves me, why do I not like me? And he knows everything. He even knows stuff about me I don't know about me. So if he knows all this and he can like me and love me, I'm going to start liking and loving me. That was
Mm.
the biggest breakthrough I had in my life ever. And then I found out most people don't view us. Most people view us the way we view ourselves. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I was looking down on myself, that was projected everybody. They were looking down on me. When I'm not believing me, that most people weren't believing. When I started believing me, other people started believing. When I started liking and loving me, I was like, whoa. Matter of fact, one day I decided I'm going to be one of my favorite speakers. That's it. I'm just going to start saying that. And so one place I showed up to speak, and I was like, hey, I heard one of my favorite speakers in the whole world is going to be here. So I had to show up to hear him. And they're looking at like, there's a couple different speakers, right? And I was like, oh, if you're wondering, it was me. I said, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I just know that when I speak, it's not from a book, it's from something that changed my life. And I believe it'll change your life as well. And
Yes.
it was amazing. All of my children, my wife, have all at separate times have come up to me before I said that publicly and said, you're my favorite speaker. Isn't that amazing? Now, when I said I'm no good, I don't like myself, nobody ever said, right? So we have to understand to some degree the power of that. And so, yes, when I started saying I'm going to believe in me instead of just waiting for somebody else to believe, and like I said, sometimes I would do it just to prove them wrong, and it still worked. It
Yeah.
still worked. So watch what happens when you believe. Now
Yes.
it's going to work even double.
Yes. So you had a book come out in 2024, December 24, called Kingdompreneur.
Yes.
So, how did your own breakthrough all those years ago lead you, like all those childhood experiences and as a young man breaking that board and all those things? How did that shape the philosophy that you share in that book?
Well, actually, yeah. The first book came out was Your Breakthrough is Guaranteed: 7 Simple Steps to Your Success, and a
Yeah.
lot of that is about what we're talking about, and then in business building, how to build a big team fast. But this is the most recent one because there's a dynamic I found out because I'm also a minister of the gospel. And so I was going through a struggle of, okay, do I do ministry or is it okay? Do I do business? And I found out a lot of committed Christians are like that. It's like, and then I found out, no, doing business God's way is ministry. And I found out that really, if you're a believer, you have an unfair advantage, but it's often unutilized because it's usually unrecognized. And so, anyway,
Mm.
I crafted this book to help people. Matter of fact, I had a missionary call. He said, "Man," he said, "I want to do an interview you just about this book." He said, "I interviewed you before, but I ended up seeing you got a new book. I got that book." He said, "Man, that thing's changed my life." He said, "The ideals and concepts, the old style stuff that I believed in." He said, "Man, you're challenging these things." I mean, think about it. Jesus, he had 12 years of age. He's gone for 3 days. As Joseph and Mary, and when they finally find him, he says to them, "Wish ye not that I must be about my Father's business, not ministry." He said business. So he said he was part of the family business. And so I talk about literally we have what's called a natural, and God has a super, right? And so sometimes people tell me, "Well, Doc, I don't really believe in God." That's okay. He still believes in you. That's fine. And it was a time but what I'm saying is, but when you can do pretty good, but when His super is placed on your natural, that's how I was able to build a home-based business, by the way. 1.5 million people in 6.5 years. My wife and I, by the way, my wife, Nadia, I call her my ABCD, my adorable brown caramel delight. And then I was a number one income earner and number one recruiter in 3 businesses simultaneously back when everybody was saying you can only do one thing. And what was it? I used these supernatural principles so I wrote about here. So I'll
Mm.
give you one quick example. This guy named Peter fishes all night, doesn't catch a thing. I mean, he's a professional fisherman and he's mad, he's upset. And all of a sudden, the Lord appears and says, "Cast your net on the other side." Now, wait a minute. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. I've fished all night. There's nothing out here. That's what but he said, "Wait a minute, nevertheless, at thy word." And so he obeys the word of the Lord. And on the other side, shockingly now, there's so much fish, his net starts to break. He calls another boat, their net starts to break, and both boats start to sink. And so I ask people in business, do you want to have the kind of boat sinking success, right? That you can't. That's what the book is all about, and helping people to do business in a God way and in a way that honors and serves people. See, because I used to be against selling because I thought selling was some loudmouth, fast talking person trying to talk me into something I can't afford that's not best for me. Then I found out truly at the highest level, selling is serving. And Jesus said the servant is the greatest of all. And so to be able to serve with integrity and to do business in such a way that everybody feels valued and appreciated instead of being used. So instead of using people, and trying to go after money, no. We create money so we can empower the people and help the people to get what they want. Somebody said to me, "Man, you sell a lot of books." I said, "I never sell books. I only sell the transformation that the book contains for those who are
Exactly.
willing to dig into it." Long
Exactly.
answer, but there you go.
Yeah. And I had the same kind of concept of, oh, selling is icky, the old car salesman kind of theory and all that sort of thing. And then, a mentor years ago said to me, "Catherine, if you are not sharing your expertise, you are actually ripping off potential people. You're not sharing the skills that have made you who you are with other people. So it totally flipped the switch for me around sales, because it's not selling, it's sharing. It's sharing and being of service, as you're saying. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
I get it.
Can I
Now,
do this real quick? Get a piece of paper, folks. I'm just going to do this. Write the word service, SERVICE.
yes, I'm going to do it
Okay.
too.
And if you write the word service like I have here, although my E's kind of scrunched, but
Yes.
you write service. Now put two vertical lines through the S and then one vertical line through the C. And now you find out that service is the dollar and cents of everything that we do. So two vertical lines through the S, one vertical line through the C. So we don't make our
Love
money
it.
at the expense of people. We make our money at the service of people. And that's like Augmentino's book, The Greatest Salesman Ever Lived, where he talked about, because I love me, I greet you with love of my heart. Because I love you, I'm going to give you the best deal. With That's what changed my life. So now I have a course, by the way, The Art of Selling Without Selling, or How to Sell Without Being a Sellout. And the greatest sell job is selling yourself, that you can succeed, that you can make it, that you can be bigger, better, and do more, my friend. Not to compete with others, but to compete with yourself, to become a better and better and become the best version of yourself.
Exactly. Every day I wake up and go, I'm going to be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. So you've got another book in the pipeline. Tell us about that one.
Oh my
It's going to be
goodness.
coming out soon.
Mental self-defense, learning how to, yes. And so we're talking about beating those bullies on the brain. See, the breakthrough occurs when you beat the bullies on your brain. As a child, when I got beaten and tarred and feathered, that was traumatic. That was terrible. And I was able to overcome that with the martial arts, learning self-defense. But then I found
Mm.
out in business and life and relationships, I was getting beat up even worse, but it wasn't somebody out there. It was somebody's in here, right? And so then I had to learn, just like I learned self-defense, Ishinu Karate, I had to learn what I call mental self-defense. And so I have
Mm.
a course, the book, and also MMA, instead of mixed martial arts, it's mental martial arts. Again, learning how to defend yourself against your greatest opponent, which is your undisciplined or subconscious mind. And by the way, you got to take those negative thoughts before they grow up and become mental monsters and eat you up alive. And that's what's happening to a lot of people. And it's amazing. And so, especially like things like doubt, for instance. So I'll tell you the seven main bullies and these monsters that you have to defeat. And so our newest book that's coming out here any day, and again, mental self-defense. And that, my friend, is one of the greatest and biggest breakthroughs. Again, the breakthrough occurs when you beat the bullies on the brain. And sometimes that bully of low esteem, like I'm nobody, I'm not this and I'm not that. We allow our brains to tell us what we're not instead of focusing on who we are, right? And then we have where our brains somehow, because we want to be humble people, we start reminding ourselves of all the failures of the past, and it just starts compounding and compounding and compounding, and it's just amazing. So anyway, the book, they even in the martial arts, we found out if a man or woman has a strong mental capacity and they're not as good skilled in martial arts versus another one more skilled but doesn't have the same mental capacity, the one with the mental capacity, although it's not as skilled, will win every time, because
Mm.
the true battle is right here. And so you got to win the battle in the mind. So again, just like I was jumped years ago, folks don't even realize it today. You're being beaten, tarred and feathered in your brain, and we got to learn to fight against them. So we're going to turn our greatest enemies into our greatest ally, and it's going to be amazing. So your mindset, without a breakthrough mindset, nothing on earth can help you. With a breakthrough mentality, nothing on earth can stop you.
And that's why we call him Dr. Breakthrough. So there was a lady that you had, was it a workshop that you ran with the
Yes,
81-year-old? Tell
yes.
us a little about that, because if this does not inspire you folks, nothing will.
Well, again, the power of the mind, when we believe, but it's what we believe in. So what I was believing is the lie. See, if you take the word beliefs, Beliefs, and I usually do this, I have a board And right in the middle of the word beliefs is a 3-letter word called a lie. So when what we believe in is a lie, we're very limited. Well, anyway, 110 people in the room. When they came in for this breakthrough seminar, underneath each chair was a board. And so I told them in the beginning, everybody reach out and grab that board, take notes on that board, because by the end of this, get to know it real well, because you're going to break that board, because at the end, we're going to show you the thing that's holding you back. This board, we're going to put on the one side what it is, and on the other side, what you get by breaking through that. Well, they're looking at me like, you don't know. So I did all this training, all this, and then I did my actual demonstration, breaking boards myself and boards in my head and breaking bricks and laying on a bed of nails and putting 150 pounds of bricks on my stomach. A guy with a 20-pound sledgehammer breaks the bricks off my stomach while I'm laying on a razor sharp bed of nails. So, of course, when I jump up to speak, they're like, anything you say, sir, anything, right? But I do have to say, but wait a minute. Now I'm going to teach you something. So I'm like, okay, who's ready to break the board? Nobody moved except one in the back. There was an 81-year-old lady that raised her hand, jumped up, said, I can break the board. And I'm thinking, no, I'm about to you know. And so maybe she's got brittle bones. I mean, and then all of a sudden I stopped and said, wait a minute, why am I disbelieving? So here we go again, those bullies in the brain. Why am I disbelieving? And besides that, if you know anything about a woman, when a woman's got her mind made up, you might just go. So anyway, I was like, okay, come on. She broke that board with no pain, no issue, no anything, to the point that the rest of the 109 people jumped up and came running up. I can do it now. Wait a minute. What made I taught them step by step what to do. I gave them, but when they saw somebody that they thought couldn't do it,
Yes.
then they knew they could, right? And that's why I tell people you have to get your breakthrough, because some people, they don't care. They say, yeah, Kathryn's pretty good and all that, and Dr. Breakthrough, but they don't care. They know you. They need to see you get a breakthrough. They need to see you with a champion's mindset. They need to see you. And when they see it happen with you, now they say, okay, I can do it. Which, by the way, all 8 of my children have broken boards. And my youngest one, I actually started him when he was just 4 years of age. And I still have that video with his little skinny arms, and he broke the board. And he's like, I did it. I broke the board.
I've done board breaks and firewalks and all those great things. And I mentioned to you, I used to do that in a self-esteem and life skills program that I used to run for young people as well. It has nothing to do with size. You can have the tiniest, frailest 81-year-old or a little 8-year-old that I had, and it's all in here. It's in the mind. Our mind, what we've got between our ears, people, is powerful beyond your wildest imagination, especially if you tap into whatever you call source energy, whether it's God, Buddha, Allah, Great White Spirit, universal intelligence. We are not here on our own. We really aren't. There's always a bigger plan unfolding. At yoga the other day, I went to a yoga class down at the rec center, and before we started, I saw this older lady go up to the instructor, and she said, look, my husband is coming really, he's coming soon, but I've had to drag him here. He really doesn't want to be here, but his doctor said to him, you should try yoga. And this tall, skinny, frail man comes in, and it's predominantly, I think we have maybe 2 other men in the class. I don't think they were even there last Friday. So there's all these women, and the instructor said, look, just modify anything that you like. I'll give you instructions of how you can make things easier. He's never done yoga in his life. And he was amazing. And he was almost directly behind me. So when we're doing downward dog and I'm looking through my legs, I can see him, and he did not give up. Now, this man had probably zero flexibility, but he didn't give up. And so at the end of the class, I had to go up to him. I said, you are awesome. I said, this is extraordinary. I said, most men half your age would have left about half an hour ago, and you're still here. And then I'm chatting to, he said, yeah. And the instructor said, so was it, how was it? Was it horrendous for you? And he said, no, it wasn't horrendous. Some of it was impossible, but I hung in there. And then I'm talking to the instructor afterwards, and she said, yeah, she said, he's 82 years old.
Wow.
And he turned up to do his first ever yoga class, and he hung in there the whole lesson. I said, you need to hop into a hot bath or a spa because you're going to feel muscles you've never felt before. But honestly, talk about inspiration in action.
Almost. Oh, yeah. So I was speaking at an AI conference the other day, and I said, the only thing better than AI is IA. And they were looking at me like, huh? Yeah, only thing better than AI, artificial intelligence, there's two IAs. One is inspired action, and the other is immediate action. Because I don't know, Catherine, your folks may be like me. If I don't take action right away, my mind can talk me out of it, and I can find good reasons why now is not the time, right? And so again, you got to take again inspired action. So when you get a thought or something, just bam, just do it. And they tell me an airplane's off course up to 90% of the time. But wait a minute, the pilot is
Yes.
constantly making adjustments. So I know you don't have it all together
Reviewing,
yet.
reviewing,
Exactly.
correcting. Yeah.
And so perfect, get this now, perfect in action is always superseded by imperfect action. Oh, let me say it again. I said imperfect action is always better than perfect inaction, right? So again, the the IA, inspired action, but then IA, again, immediate action. Take immediate action. I got to give you an illustration. I don't even think we met, but it came to me. I got to do this. This is what you and I do for people, and this is what your podcast is doing. So people in life, we're fired up, right? But life comes along, and man, hard times, and they're just trying to do the best they can, and just keep. And sometimes they just get thrown in the water, right?
Yep.
And you and I, we're just sailing along here, and they're like, Catherine, I've been listening to you and Dr. Breakthrough. I went on drbreakthrough.com and ordered the book and everything, and I'm trying, but look, I just can't get my fire. I just can't get my fire. And so here's what we do. We're just here, we say, but I can't. But when you connect with us,
Yes.
and then when we come together, we can burn higher and burn brighter. But like, okay, but Doc, Catherine, okay, but still, okay, it's going out again. No problem. Come a little closer.
Yes.
So sometimes you need somebody. It's okay. It's okay not to be okay sometimes. And to be able to get that book, to get that podcast, to be there, to be around that person, that again, my friend, that their flame can help. Like, because again, sometimes it's just so overwhelming. And by the way, this wick is wet. It won't be able to light on its own for another couple of days. But you give it a couple of days, it'll dry out, and it will. But in the meantime, in between time,
Come together. Yeah.
come together.
Love it. Love it. We could talk for days. We
So
know
that's
this.
what I do. So Catherine, I ignite and reignite a passion in people for life, for love, for the Lord, and for business. So go by drbreakthrough.com, just www.drbreak, B-R-E-A-K, through, T-H-R-O-U-G-H, drbreakthrough.com. I'd love to be able to support you with some things there. And again, instead of going on Amazon to get the book, if you get on Dr. Breakthrough, I get to autograph the book to you and then send you an extra gift.
And then also, when is your new book coming out?
Within 2 months, it should be done. Hopefully sooner. But I was working on. I'll be my wife and I. We fly out from Mexico, and so I'll be working on it while we're in Mexico, and so we'll see. Matter of fact,
So if
how can I get it done? I'm calling.
if they go to your website and they are part of your email list, they'll get to know when your new book comes out, right?
Yes, and I'm a very strange type of person. I love people sending me text. And besides that, I got a 24/7 breakthrough hotline. If they dial 717, if they're in the US, or through WhatsApp, 717-275-3508. They can call that 24/7, 717-275-3508. They'll hear a powerful, inspirational message. And of course, they can also text about that information. And because again, my phone, the way it is, it'll send them right to voicemail. However, when people are in my phone, I can see it. And if I'm available, sometimes I answer, and I answer the phone one day, and this lady is like, no, Dr. Breakthrough, no, hang up. I got a friend on the phone. She was so discouraged. I said, if you just hear this man's 3-minute voice, it'll make the rest of your day. So we're going to call back. don't answer. We just want to listen to a voicemail, right? And then another time I was available and I answered. The guy's like, Dr. Breakthrough, no, please, let me call back. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call back about 4 times because I'm trying to write down all that stuff that you were saying. So he said, somebody heard you on some show and they said you could call the number. I called in the middle of the night and I heard it and I wanted and I forgot about it, but then I'm calling back. I had no idea you would ever answer. And he said, so please, I'm gonna call like 4 or 5 times in a row because I'm trying to write all that stuff down. And that's when it dawned on me. I might as well make that a hotline, let people just call, get that message. But you can text that number for information. And I'd love speaking your church or school or podcast or whatever you have. I'm like you, KATHRYN. I just love empowering people. I mean, there were so many people that saw something in me that I didn't see and helped empower me. So now I'm a debtor. And so I feel like I need to give back. And I love doing it, just like you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we'll probably have you back because there are so many other stories that we could share and keep on inspiring people. And honestly, please comment, share, let us know what you thought of this podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe because I interview really cool people, as you can see. One week it'll be just me talking about something that I'm passionate about. The following week it'll be someone like Dr. Stan / Dr. Breakthrough. So if you had a breakthrough today, if you had an aha moment, really take action. That's what we're saying. Don't just go, oh, yeah, that was really interesting what he said or what she said or whatever it was that inspired you. Please, 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 just do something. Do something before you go to bed tonight, okay? Or if you can't tonight, first thing in the morning, take one action, at least take baby steps towards whatever it is that we've inspired you to do. Okay? Because, information's useless unless you use it. So thank you again. I stuffed up the times. Dr. Stan thought this was going to happen at a totally different time. He totally rearranged all of his schedule to be with us today. So thank you so much. And I look forward to another interview sometime. And to all of you that joined us, 1.2K people, woo! I set a goal to get from 1.1 to 1.2, and we did it. So I'll give you a high five. Oops, where are you? There.
Fist bump, high five.
And thanks everyone for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again at the Champions Mindset next week, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern. Ciao for now.
Thanks for watching The Champions Mindset with KATHRYN Orford. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week.